Alright, so let me just write down the various arrays for you. The IN array A comma E is going to have a node number. So, A goes from 1 through NEN, E goes from 1 through NEL, and A goes from 1 through NNP. This is the connectivity array. The next array is the ID array, and this is the equation number for each node. So, the node number is A and it gives us the equation number P. A goes from 1 through NNP, each node number, and P goes from 1 to NEQ. These are the number of equations. Then next I have the LM array, the location matrix array. So, this is the location matrix. The ID array is actually the destination array. And as I said, the IN array is the connectivity array. Okay. The LM array, again we can go to each element and each node number. So, A goes from 1 through NEN and E goes from 1 through number of elements, and this would tell us the equation number P, which goes from 1 to NEQ. In fact, I can use any two of these arrays to generate the third one. So let us take the example of LM array. So, if I want to generate the LM array of a certain local node number of a given element E, then I can first go to the IN array and figure out what is the corresponding global node number. And once I know the global node number, I can actually get the equation number. So, this in fact can be written as the ID of A, and that is essentially IEN of A comma E. So, in that sense, this is LM is redundant. Nevertheless, we store it for efficiency. Let me demonstrate this through an example. So, let us consider a simple plate, a 2D plate, in which I am going to generate a mesh with the following elements. So, let us say this is a rectangular plate, and for simplicity I put these element numbers as, so this I will call E is my element. So, if I put a element here, typical element, E is the element number, and I am going to write these numbers as element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So, there are 6 elements. So, I will say my E goes from 1 through 6 and my NEL therefore is 6. Okay. Let me number the nodes for you, and I will number the nodes simply like this. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, let us say there are 12 nodes. So, my A is the node number, it goes from 1 through 12, which means my number of nodal points is 12. Let me assign some boundary conditions. As you know, we are looking at some special cases where the entire boundary gamma of this domain has to be divided into two parts, a gamma g and a gamma h. So, a node should either be gamma g or gamma h, it cannot be both, and each node has to be either gamma g or gamma h. Okay. So, we will specify the Dirichlet boundary condition or the temperature condition at certain nodes, and just to make things simple, to illustrate, we will assume that this boundary is the one where temperature is specified. So, this is the boundary for essential boundary condition. So, here the temperature will be specified, and at other nodes I am going to have equation numbers. Okay. So, if I had to ask myself how many equations I have, you can see there are total of 12 nodes, and these 4 nodes, they lie on the G type boundary. So, let me construct therefore the set of nodes. So, eta is the set of nodes, and that would be 1, 2, 3 all the way to 12. If I had to construct eta G, which is the set of boundary nodes or the G type boundary nodes, then there are these 4 of them, and that is 1, 4, 7 and 10. Alright, so let us go ahead and first write down the IEN array. The IEN array in this case would have a dimension of 1 through NEN, and please notice that NEN for this case is 4 because I have 4 local nodes per element. Let me adopt a convention that I will number the nodes in a counterclockwise direction. This is a convention I will follow just for convenience. And let me start by saying that this is A equal to 1, this is A equal to 2, this is A equal to 3, and this is A equal to 4. So, each element has 4 local nodes, and this is the convention I will follow. You can choose any other convention that you would like, okay? But remember, we have to be consistent. So, when we make these arrays and we want to interpret the IN array, then you must follow the same convention throughout your bookkeeping, otherwise there will be a problem. Alright, so my IN array goes from 1 through NEN, which in this case is 4, and I have 6 elements. So, the next index is 1 through 6, and each of these should point to a node number, a global node number. So, let me draw the IN array for you. So, this has 4 nodes. So, let me call this as A and let me call this as E. So, I have 6 elements. So, E goes from 1 through 6 and my A goes from 1 through 4. Okay. So, let me go to the first element. So, E equal to 1 is the first element, which is this one, and I would like to find out which nodes, which global nodes make up this element. And you can see these are 1, 2, 5, 4. So, if I have the coordinates of all the 12 nodes, then of them these nodes, which I will write here 1, 2, 5, 4, they make the first element. If I come to the second element, I will again follow this convention. So, 2, 3, 6, 5. You can now think about what should be the node numbers or the IN array for element number 3. That should be 4, 5, 8, 7. Likewise, for 4 it should be 5, 6, 9, 8. And for number 5 it should be 7, 8, 11, 10. And for number 6 it is 8, 9, 12, 11. Okay. Now, there is no particular need to number the nodes the way I have done. Okay. So, you could have actually numbered the nodes as 1, 2, 3, 4 in a very haphazard manner. All that would do is it would kind of change the structure of your global stiffness matrix and force vector. But in terms of the correctness, actually finite element allows you to number your nodes and elements in any arbitrary manner. We will talk more about this a little later. So, that is your IN array. What we have done is, given the X array for all the nodes, we now know that each element is formed out of which global node numbers. The next is the ID array. The ID array should tell us what are the equation numbers for the node numbers. So, this goes from 1 through n np, and nnp in this case is 12. Okay. And this should give me the equation number which is p. So, let me therefore write down this stencil which will give me the ID array. Okay. So, I have made a box where I can get the ID array for each of these node numbers. So, please notice that I have written the node numbers on top of each entry. All right. So, as I said, the first step would be to identify which are the G type nodes, and they are indeed these 4 nodes. So, clearly they do not have an equation number. So, the first step is to identify these nodes and say they do not have an equation number, and we will use a value of 0 to say that there is no equation number. So, I go to node 1 and put a 0 here. So, the ID of node 1 is 0, that means it does not have an equation number, and I do that for 4, I do that for 7, and I do that for 10. So, these are the 4 nodes for which there are no equation numbers. Now, I can assign the remaining equations, the remaining nodes an equation number. So, I can just go consecutively. So, I start from 1, I see a 0, I go to 2, and there is no equation assigned so far. So, I go ahead and put an equation number 1, and what I will do is I will put the equation number inside a box just to distinguish it from the node number. Then I come to the node number 3 and I want to assign an equation number. Well, I can go ahead and assign 2, and likewise I can just fill up consecutively my equation numbers. So, let me use that information here as well. So, 1, 2, this would be 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, 7 and 8. So, I have 8 equations, 12 nodes, and this is the ID array. So, this already tells me that when I write down the final matrix form K D equal to F, then my K is actually a 8 by 8 matrix, and my F is a vector with 8 rows, and likewise my D vector, the vector of unknowns, has 8 unknowns in it. Okay. All right. So, I got the IN array, I got the ID array, and next I want to talk about the LM array. The LM array goes from 1 through NEN, and the second index is 1 through NEL, the number of elements. So, in that sense the layout is very similar to the IAN array. So, let me again draw this. So, this is A going from 1, 2, 3, 4 and my elements numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, essentially I want to go to the first element, this is the first element, and I want to go through the local node numbers. These are the local node numbers A equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want to write down what are the global equation numbers. So, I can do it in two ways. I can actually refer to these node numbers. So, I already know in the IN array my first element consists of nodes 1, 2, 5, 4, and then I can go here and see what are the entries for 1. So, that is 0. So, there is no equation number at this entry. Then I have node 2, global node 2, and that has equation number 1. Then I go to global node number 5, and for 5 I have the equation number 3. Then I have global node number 4, and for that again I do not have an equation number. So, I could either use these two arrays and make the LM array, or in fact I can even use the diagram that I have made here. So, I go to the first element and I have written the equation numbers in the box. There is no box here, so that is a 0. So, you can see the equation numbers are 0, 1, 3, 0, which is what I have written over there. Likewise, for element number 2, I can write down 1, 2, 4, 3. And you can double check that for element 2, I have the node numbers as 2, 3, 6, 5. 2 gives me 1, 3 gives me 2, 6 gives me the entry 4, and then 5 gives me the entry 3. So, exactly what has been entered there. Alright, let us go to element number 3. So, I get 0, 3, 5, 0. Similarly, for element number 4, I am going to write down 0, 4, 6, 0. Sorry, for element 4 I get 3, 4, 6, 5. And for element 5 I get 0, 5, 7, 0. And for element number 6 I get 5, 6, 8, 7. Okay. So, that is my LM array. How does it help me in assembly? So, let us look at the assembly. So, I have the K matrix, which actually has a size of NEQ, which is 8 by 8. So, let me draw the 8 by 8 matrix. Okay, so I am going to have these rows. So, this is row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Likewise, I would have 8 columns. So, let me draw those as well. So, let me number them. Eight rows, 8 columns. And similarly for F, I would have this vector over here, where I can again draw these. Well, maybe I should just extend these. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. So, I am now going to start from the first element. So, let us first take E equal to 1 and let us assume that I have this K matrix 1 which has these 4 entries in each. So, in fact, this is a 4 by 4, so it has 16 entries. So, it is a 4 by 4 matrix and I would have something like this K1, so this superscript denotes the element number K11, then I have K12, K13 and K14. Likewise, I would have 3 more rows, so this is a 16 by 16 matrix and I want to figure out where these entries would go. Okay. So, let us first talk about K111. First element and A is 1, B is 1. So, remember this is A and this is B. I am talking about K, A, B, E. So, A is the row number and B is the column number. Okay. Now, let us see the first element. This is my first element. And what you will notice is that for the first element, this is my first element, the equation numbers are 0, 1, 3, 0. Okay. So, these two do not have an equation number, these two nodes. Okay. So, in fact, as far as the small k is concerned, the first row and the fourth row, they do not contribute to any equation number. They do not get assembled at all. So, for the first element, this and this, the first row and the last row are out, they do not contribute. Similarly, the first column and the last column, they do not contribute because there are no unknowns corresponding to them. In fact, I would end up assembling only a 2 by 2 matrix out of these. And where would that go? Let us take a look. So, suppose I am interested in assembling K 2, 2 for the first element. Okay. So, that would be this location over here. Now, you will notice that K22 would actually go to equation number 1 and column number 1. So, first row, first column. So, this is where my K1, 2, 2 would go and add up there. Next, I could ask what happens to K2, 3 from the first element. So, I am talking about the second row, which is actually the first equation, and then the next index is 3, which refers to the column, and A equal to 3 corresponds to actually this 3. So, this quantity would go to the first equation, but then I would have to put it in the third column. Okay, because that would hit the third unknown. So, this is where I would end up with K 2, 3, 1.